What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel. Now, welcome back. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed unless, of course, it's your taste level. It might need a little fine tune. It might be lacking, okay? You know, every now and again when I say that intro, I think about that lady. And if you've been here for a while, you know what lady I'm talking about. The lady that took offense to that opening and was like, how are you gonna get subscribers if you, what is it called? Insult them at the beginning of the video. Girl, who did I insult? A fact is a fact. The way I genuinely hope her feathers ruffle just wherever she is in the world every time it comes out of my mouth. Speaking of my mouth, y'all, I told y'all my mustache, she's a shady girl. I can't get rid of her, right? I waxed her off. Why she come back with an ingrown hair? She stays at least one or two up on me, and I'm so sick of it. But anyway, this is not about my mustache. This is about a true crime case that I'm about to get into today. And these happenings unfold between two couples, two married couples, the Tuckers versus the Haggertys. It's a bunch of mess, okay? A lot to unpack, so I'm just gonna get right into the things. Y'all know I'm here to tell y'all somebody's business. So around 2014, Belinda and Anthony Tucker purchased their dream home in a nice neighborhood located in Lancaster, Texas. I believe it was called Pleasant Run Estates. This has been their dream, to purchase a home post-retirement in a nice little neighborhood. So they're excited that they have finally gotten to this stage of life. And they name their humble abode the Tucker Lot. Now, directly across the street from them is another couple about their age, fairly new to the neighborhood as well, Kenneth and Sharita Haggerty. Kenneth has his own electrician company that has done very well, and his wife Sharita is very quickly becoming a pillar of the community. She's hosting a lot of charity events for their church and just really goes out of her way to familiarize herself with the other couples and build community, right? Now, both Belinda and Sharita join a local women's walking club where the ladies would get together, walk through the neighborhood to get their little steps in, talk about the things, and then go on about their merry way. And at this walking club is where Sharita and Belinda meet for the very first time, not yet knowing that they live directly across the street from one another. The ladies are walking, they're chatting, and just like I'm telling you their business, they get to talking about neighborhood gossip. And Sharita tells Belinda about this one couple who has just moved into the neighborhood. She has not yet met, but they have like the worst taste in decor, landscaping, and has really turned their home into a complete eyesore. Sharita is telling Belinda and the girls that she can tell that the couple has money, but it's just unfortunate that they don't have good taste as well. And everything they're doing to their home is just hideous. She hates it. The girls are laughing, they continue their walk, and it appears that they have really found a friend in one another. Until the walk concludes, everyone heads to their respective homes, and the ladies realize that they live across the street from one another. And that tacky house that Belinda has been complaining about is Tucker's lot, Belinda's home. Each woman go into their respective homes and vent to their husband about what had just happened. Belinda is pissed off. She is offended. Sharita is a bit embarrassed and takes the advice of her husband, which is to just address it the next time she sees Belinda and apologize. You know, try to smooth things over. Let her know you ain't really mean it like that. But Belinda feels like Sharita has shown her true colors, that she is the type of girl that will talk behind your back, has somewhat mean girl energy, and that's just not the type of person that she wants to associate with. As far as Belinda is concerned, Sharita has crossed the line, and now that she has crossed the line, baby, she has to stay there. Belinda also feels like Sharita is just talking like this because she is jealous, and maybe she just can't afford any of the things that she sees out there, you know, in the yard or plastered to the house. And that's why she's really mad. So she decides to keep her distance from the Haggertys, whom she now refers to as the Hags. And she continues to spruce up Tucker's lot just as she sees fit, taking a lot of pride in how well she keeps up her home's appearance, in her opinion. Belinda takes interest in the appearance of the entire neighborhood. She felt like it could look a bit nicer. They could use common spaces like a playground for the children, which they don't have, and other shared common spaces for all of the residents to enjoy. She also felt like there should be some sort of standard that everybody is required to meet. So she takes the initiative to get their HOA reestablished. Now, I know we got girls from all over watching, so if you are not familiar, you may have something similar that's called something else, but a HOA here is a group or organization that has a bunch of rules. Like, you got to keep your grass cut, no trash cans in view, like just whatever. Sometimes it's no above ground pools. It's just a certain set of rules that you have to follow. Everybody in the neighborhood has to follow, and failure to do so results in fines that you have to pay to the HOA. There's also fees or dues that each household will have to pay to fund projects like getting a playground and these other common areas to share. And failure to pay these fees or your dues has consequences. An HOA can put a lien on your home. They can take your property and have you put out on the streets, even if it's paid off. Now, Pleasant Run Estates did have an HOA, but it disbanded some time ago. And since then, everybody in Pleasant Run Estates has been free to do whatever they want to do with their property, which no one has had an issue with until now, of course. Now, Belinda takes the initiative to get it back up and running, and her husband, Anthony, runs to be the president of the HOA. The community has an election, he campaigns, and ultimately wins the popular vote. When Belinda and Anthony Tucker get the costs together, they send out notices to every home letting them know what the dues would be and the dates that they would need to be paid. And when Sharita and Kenneth Haggerty received their first notices, they pretty much brushed them to the side. And mostly because the HOA, as they know it, has been disbanded. And so they're thinking like, we don't have an HOA. What is this? Now, the next time the two ladies cross paths, Sharita does pull Belinda to the side to apologize to her and explain to her that she has felt so bad about the things that she said and the fact that she said them directly to her. And the two ladies decide or agree to put the whole thing behind them and start new. They have a pleasant conversation. The tension eases between them while chatting, and then Sharita asks Belinda if she had been receiving these notices from the HOA. And Belinda is like, of course. My man is the president. Apparently, this was news to Sharita because she is taken aback. Since when do we have an active HOA, and since when is your husband the president? So she's asking these type of questions, and Belinda is trying to assure her that notices went out to each of the residents, letting them know that there was an interest to start up the HOA. Everyone was given the opportunity to vote, whether they were for or against reestablishing this HOA. And once it was agreed by the majority that they would, there was an election held to vote for president of said HOA. But apparently, Sharita and her husband had missed the memo. They are not in favor of an HOA. They would not have voted for it. And ultimately, they're feeling like they were robbed of their say in the whole ordeal. She's very much irritated and believing that these people, being the Tuckers, had intentionally done this behind their back because Belinda was mad about what she said about their decor. She really believes that it was intentional. So just like that, just as quickly as they had resolved one issue, another emerges and the tension returns. And because the Haggertys had not agreed to this HOA, they continue to ignore the invoices. Meanwhile, Belinda and Anthony continue to send out their invoices, followed by friendly reminders, and then, of course, a notice of what could potentially happen if they continue to ignore their dues. The Haggertys are not the only ones who felt this way about the HOA. There were several other households who did not vote in favor of the HOA and had the same attitude that they were not going to pay. So it's a little group of them throwing away these invoices just as soon as Belinda and Anthony send them out. After months have now gone by with this group of the neighbors refusing to pay, Belinda decides that she's going to go door to door and speak with those who are non-compliant in person. When she gets to the Haggertys, they tell her basically since they were left out of the process, they weren't paying anything. And she warns them that unfortunately for them, that is not an option. And they're not trying to hear it. They are standing their grounds and refusing to pay. They have banded with the others who have decided the same, and they are sticking to their guns. Belinda continues to send out her invoices and her warning child while Sharita decides to do a little bit of digging, she goes to Pleasant Run Estates' website that there is no HOA even listed on the site. So now she's questioning the validity of this whole HOA. And when she can't find anything online that proves that it is legit, she comes to believe that the Tuckers are committing fraud and they're actually just trying to scam this extra money off of everyone, saying that the HOA dudes. She also finds out that they already pay into an organization that is run by the city called the Public Improvement District. Their PID fee is automatically deducted from their mortgage, and it pretty much covers all of the things that the Tuckers say the HOA fees will cover, like street lights, speed bumps, the playground that Belinda is pushing to have built, all of this. So this just further solidifies for the Haggertys that the Tuckers are scammers. And digging a little bit deeper than that, the Haggertys find out that this management company for this newly revived HOA belongs to Belinda Tucker. When they find this out, they spread the news like wildfire throughout the neighborhood. Now we have people who were paying into the dues not paying. Because it's like, girl, what's going on here? This causes a lot of discourse in the neighborhood. Everyone is calling the Tuckers frauds, scammers. And no matter how much they try to explain the legitimacy of the current HOA and it being managed by Belinda's management company is not shady or proof of any wrongdoing on their part, it is to no avail because nobody's trying to hear that. They don't believe it. Because one thing a scammer gonna always have is an explanation, okay? Things become even worse when the Haggertys start parking their company truck on the street. And this here is the truck. It ain't too crazy big, but it's not small either. They're parking it on the street, but in front of their home, which is against Belinda Tucker's HOA rules. And yeah, you just can't do that. So she calls the police to report it. The police come out, they do back her. They say that because the truck is overweight, it cannot be parked on the street. And they give the Haggertys a time frame in which it would have to be moved or risk being towed. And the Haggertys don't take too kindly to that. Kenneth Haggerty does move his truck, but not before giving the Tuckers a nice, nasty little verbal lashing. He cursed them out good and well, honey, right after he moved that truck, calling Belinda a bitch and threatening to send her to hell. Now, this is what the Tucker said he said. He said he didn't say that. Belinda Tucker insists that he did say that, and she took that as a threat because how else would you send me to hell if not kill me, sir? Now, Belinda also claims that he told her if his truck is overweight, then her, quote, fat ass needs to get off the streets too. Now, why would he say that to that lady? He said he didn't say that to that lady. So, look, you believe who you want to. I think he said it to the lady. And from this point, things continue to spiral. Now at this point, the line has been drawn and the two of them go back and forth playing petty ping pong. Kenneth Haggerty would allegedly harass them by blasting gospel music like really, really loud. And Anthony Tucker gets his lick back by revving his motorcycle outside in the street really, really loud. And child, now I feel like all the neighbors are suffering because, girl, if I'm the house to the left, I'm hearing all of this too. It's not like only their intended targets can hear the noise. And then these two households, they start making noise complaints on each other. So now they're getting on the local police's nerves, constantly calling them, complaining. And it's just an ongoing cycle of chaos. This back and forth pettiness goes on for the next 3 years. It gets to the point where the police will refer to them as the Hatfields and McCoys. Mind you, these HOA fees, they still not being paid. So that's the underlying issue as well. And then Belinda Tucker decides that she is going to run for mayor in 2019. She and her campaign buddies, I don't know, the people that come along and help you carry the signs and things, pass out flyers, her and her group, her entourage, they get together and go door to door handing out flyers, asking people if they could put the signs in their yard. And the girls in the neighborhood, they make it quite clear that they are not here for Belinda or her campaign. They're still quite upset and irritated by this whole HOA thing, her still harassing them for the funds, threatening them over non-payment, paired with the belief that it's not even legit. So she just puts her signs up on her lot and wherever else she is allowed to. But the very next day, she comes out and her signs have been vandalized. And then she checks her mailbox and there are Belinda Tucker flyers in there. Not flyers she made, not flyers from her campaign. These are flyers calling her a fraud, a scammer, nothing nice. And Miss Tucker feels like she knows exactly the person who made the flyers or whose idea it was. They're disgruntled neighbors across the street. Now, things really become tense between them when one evening Belinda is opening her front door to see her friend out, and they are met with like a red beam laser light. She immediately closes the door because the only thing that she is aware of that has a light like that is a weapon. They close the door, they duck down. Anthony comes out into the dining room to see what they are hooting and hollering about, and the red beam light comes through the window and it aims at his chest. So they duck, they call 911, the police come out, but basically tell them that it is not illegal for their neighbors to shine a light and to basically ignore it. The Tuckers are telling the police that they feel threatened by it, that this comes after a long line or years of harassment, but nothing is ultimately done because the police are like, well, you don't have proof of the light. At this point, it's just hearsay. And mind you, these are the same police that they have been calling for years, back and forth on each other. And Kenneth Haggerty has since denied doing any of the things. He said he didn't do that either. I don't know, Kenneth. I feel like you done did or said some of this. At this point, Anthony Tucker decides if the police aren't going to do anything, he's going to have to take matters into his own hands. He installs security cameras all around the outside of their property, but the ones in the front of the house, they don't point to their own house. They point across the street at the Haggertys. And so the Haggertys go and do the same thing. They get cameras, put them all around their house, and they face their cameras at the Tuckers. The Haggertys would have friends over who would park on the street, but not on the side of the Haggerty's house, on the opposite side, right in front of the Tuckers' home. And being that there was space in front of their own home, the Tuckers took this as another form of harassment and them trying to be petty. So Belinda decides, you know what, I'm not going to take the pettiness sitting down. She goes outside, moves two of their vehicles out to the street. She blocks the car in, put one of their cars in the front of it, one of their vehicles in the back, and she admittedly parks so close, like as close as she possibly could without making contact with their car, in an effort to keep them from being able to leave. She said she had nowhere to be, baby. Her husband is retired. She does not work anywhere, but she knew that it was likely that their company had to be at work in the morning, and yeah, that'll teach them. Now, unfortunately, it taught her a little something too, because when she came out the next morning, the company's vehicle was gone and her vehicles were damaged. Mama surely lost that round. And so they continue to find other ways to agitate and harass each other, calling the police, wasting their time. Nothing is being resolved. So of course it's only a matter of time before things come to a head. And the Tuckers decide to take it to the courts. They request an order of protection against the Haggertys, citing their 92 claims that they have made against the Haggertys over the preceding years. But the request is denied because it will force one of them to have to move, and it just, the court saw it for what it was, petty nonsense. And at this point, the Tuckers are also utilizing the court system to penalize all of these residents who have not paid their HOA fees. The Haggertys were threatened with a lien on their home. They ignored it, of course, because they still think that this is not a legitimate thing. And when that final date to pay comes and goes, a lien is actually placed on the Haggerty's home. And Kenneth Haggerty, he said he has not started his own business and worked this hard for somebody to come in and take his property. He does not take too kindly to this, to say the least. August 4th of 2019, Kenneth Haggerty catches Belinda Tucker pulling out of her driveway. She is in the car with a friend of hers, and he blocks off the street, pulls his car in front of hers, cuts her off, and sits. She smiles at him. This apparently pissed him off even more than he already was. He gets out of his car, starts walking toward her vehicle, and she pulls out her phone to record. And I guess Kenneth said he'll give her something to record, honey. He pulls out a gun. She's dropped the phone in a panic. He is approaching her vehicle with the weapon drawn. So she hits the gas and Kenneth starts shooting. Now Anthony Tucker, he hears the commotion. He comes running out with his weapon. He is firing at Kenneth, who is now ducking on the side of Belinda's car. He can see that his wife has been shot and that she is slumped over in her vehicle. So he is yelling, "You killed my wife." He's still firing at Kenneth. Kenneth was not hit by the vehicle. He is now crouched down on the passenger side of Belinda's car ducking bullets. It's giving Wild Wild West. Because he's also coming back up shooting at Anthony in between him ducking Anthony's bullets. It's crazy. And he yelling at Anthony to stop shooting her. He'll shoot her again. Now one of the neighbors hearing all of the commotion calls the police, who pull up within minutes. And they pull up aiming at both of the men, telling them to drop their weapons. An ambulance is called for Belinda, who has been shot 4 times. 2 bullets have grazed her scalp, 1 is in her arm, and 1 is in her hand because she put her hands up like this to block. Her husband Anthony is hauled off in a squad car, but only to give a statement at the police station. He is not charged for anything. This is Texas, and he was on his property defending his wife, so he was allowed to return home. Kenneth Haggerty was also taken down to the station, and Kenneth is charged with aggravated assault, 2 counts of aggravated assault. His bail is set at $100,000. And he is at home the next day. Belinda Tucker was released from the hospital the following day, so she also returned home the next day. Now everybody back at square one. And y'all, tell me why, after doing a bit of investigating, the police circle back around the Pleasant Run Estates and arrest the Tuckers, both of them, when they find out that these two have illegally acquired 9 other properties, 9 other homes from a deceased man who had just passed away 7 months prior. Arnold Young, who had passed away in February of that year, 2019, at the age of 82, was an English teacher for the Dallas School District for over 30 years and was also the co-owner of Lott's Mortuary. He owned 9 different homes scattered across the city, collectively worth $1.1 million, and he would rent these homes out to different families for a nice, affordable fee. But he had left these homes to his family members when he passed away. And while attempting to settle his estate, his family finds out that the property deeds have been transferred to a company called Mutual Freedom that was registered to a mailbox at a UPS store. And the company is owned by none other than Miss Belinda Tucker. And she had also been the one to notarize the paperwork and then filed it herself with the county to secure ownership of these properties. And get this, it gets a little bit crazy, a little bit worse, right? Belinda has sold one of the 9 properties to the tenant that was renting it at the time. And this is actually how his family found out that something was wrong, because that tenant stopped paying rent. And they were like, hold on now, he might be gone, baby, but you still gotta pay. And the person in the home is like, yeah, no, I don't have to pay rent anymore because this is my house. Which of course caused confusion because, girl, why do you think this is your house now? Well, mama's pulled out a deed that had been forged by none other than Miss Belinda Tucker. And when confronted about this, Belinda tells investigators that Arnold has signed over the homes to her, to her business for charity, but she could not show any evidence of them having a relationship at all. Her only proof was her having his telephone number, which she could have of course gotten online, and she could not show any proof of having any type of communication with him. No emails, no phone records, no text messages, nothing to help substantiate her claims that she even knew this man. Now, she also claimed that Mr. Young had shown her his original will, which had her listed as the recipient of these homes, but she has no proof of that either. She didn't ask him for a copy. She didn't take a picture on her camera phone, none of that. So you're just gonna have to take her word for it, which is a big ask in a situation like this. Now, in Texas, if you are a notary and you notarize the things, you must provide by law a copy of anything you've notarized to any person requesting a copy after it's been processed and the fee has been paid. But when the investigators request a copy, Belinda Tucker says she has lost her notary book since then, and unfortunately, yeah, she ain't got that. So she and her husband, they rack up their fraud charges. Eventually, they do bail out. Belinda has denied the claims that they have fraudulently secured these 9 properties, saying, quote, "My husband and I are merely victims of false allegations by a disgruntled family member." Child, I don't know if that's the case. Now, since everything came to light and all the girls felt vindicated in their allegations of the Tuckers being scammers, they have since moved out of the neighborhood. Belinda said it was because her husband just couldn't take living directly across the street from the man who tried to take her out of the world, because they do believe that that was attempted murder. He was trying to kill her. So they moved out of their home, and sadly in 2022, just 3 years later, Anthony Tucker passes away in his sleep, leaving his wife Belinda to face their fraud charges alone. Now I saw that they were set to go to court in late 22, but I couldn't find any information beyond that to see like how the things unfolded. I would hope that the family did win back their properties. And as for the Haggertys, Kenneth specifically with his charges, all things considered, the courts felt like their concerns or fears that the Tuckers were trying to scam them were legit because they were scammers. So they were very lenient with Kenneth Haggerty. He ended up getting probation only. He got to remain in his house, and everything pretty much went back to the way it was before the Tuckers moved on to Tucker's Lot. Unfortunately though, his wife Sharita did pass away in the spring of 2023, and I feel like it's kind of eerie that they both lost a spouse. One husband, one wife right after this, because they weren't like really old. They weren't old at all. They were in their 50s. Very crazy case, one that did not have to happen, if you ask me. That's just my little piece of opinion. Y'all, don't get all sad and mushy on me, and I'm not trying to explain it in a way that some might take it. I'm trying to communicate because I love y'all. Some of y'all have been with me for a while. When I was fighting geese, or they was fighting me, I moved to Texas. Like, y'all have been here through a lot. And so, yeah, I want to tell y'all this from that aspect because y'all my little family or whatever. I have sadly lost a family member, and the thing is, this is my grandmother's sister. So I have a little bit of peace or an easier time accepting it because it's like, you know, she was up in age, it's a part of life. And so that has made it easier a little bit. But then when I think about my girl and how we was at my cousin Tim's funeral, she stood up at the very end and she said, well, y'all will be throwing me in the ground next. I mean, she called it. That's my girl, and I'm gonna miss her. It's when I think about those moments and how she had the most terrible road rage, even if she was in the wrong, then I'm like, dang, I'm not gonna witness Auntie Jean giving it up no more how she used to do. Oh child, I just thought of something else she said to my cousin, but I'm not gonna repeat it because I'm not gonna embarrass my cousin. When I think about those memories and just sit with the idea that, dang, I'm really not gonna see my girl no more, like that's it, it makes me sad a little bit. So damn, I picked the right time to do my mascara. I didn't even think I was gonna cry because I haven't. I'm a thug, girl. You a thug, girl. Thought I had it together. Oh, hey Bella. Bella's our girl. What you crying for now? So I have decided to sit with my feelings and process this, not try to work through it or like keep myself busy. So yeah, this will be the only video I upload this week, and I doubt I'll be back Tuesday. I should be back Thursday. I plan on being back next Thursday. And this Sunday, because what I do plan on doing while I'm processing is getting in the garden. That's my happy place. So I do a lot of my thinking. So I will be filming, like I promised y'all, me harvesting my sweet potatoes, building my fall garden beds, getting my brassicas out there, my lettuce, my broccoli, Brussels sprouts, starting all of that. So I will have a Sunday vlog up. I'm aiming for this Sunday, girl. If I'm not on Sunday, please give me grace. But yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's what's going on. And I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace. Why is this truck so loud? Thank you. Kenneth has his own electrician company. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Oh, I bring my bronzer down that far, and you just let me do it. That's crazy. How well she keeps up her home's opinion. Her home's opinion, girl. Taking a lot of pride. Girl, you got somewhere to be. I ain't got time to be playing like this. Taking a lot of pride in how well she keeps up her home and the opinion. What? Okay, stop. So she takes the initiative to get the HOA, but everyone or most had to even, okay. And she notices that there is no AOJ, what? And when they find this out, y'all got a crush on this man, but I'm not gonna tell who I ain't telling y'all who it is because y'all messy. Y'all real messy, but I'm thinking about him right now. I wonder what he doing. But she could not show any. Where is my liner? Why you breathing down my neck, boy? I wish y'all could see him right here. Blue is right there, all up in my personal space. Look for my eyeliner since you up here looking around. You see it? Cause I don't, and I need that. One thing about it, two things for sure, Rare Beauty got the best lip liners on the market. Mine don't want to act right now. I don't know why. Like, please, I don't need this. I'm already going through enough. And of course, I want to hear your, oh, child, I done messed up my liner. Come on now, I'm going through enough. I didn't have it. Girl, why would you? I got somewhere to be. I really be getting on my nerves. Let's try to get a thumbnail. Okay, Blue, I'm about to feed you. Look at him. Are you trying to get food or are you getting up here because, you know, mommy's sad? I think it's the food, honestly. I know you care about me or whatever, but it's definitely the food you want. You ready to eat?